Right, so in a recent video I bought two non-runners for £1,000 each. One of them was a Mercedes C-Class, the other one was a Nissan Navara. I've got a bit of news about them cars shortly. It's our first month as Calvin's car dealership. This is the online virtual car dealership designed specifically for YouTube, so you can see the purchases, the sales, the expenses, the problems and the dramas with the car trade. To my right, yeah, we've got loads going on here, loads going on. We've got a big pile of stone. Behind me, we've got our unit that we've got for Calvin's car dealership, and to the left of me, over there, we've got a digger, yeah? It's all happening, it's all happening. Also, the sole focus of this video is revealing a purchase that I've just made for the dealership as well. So don't go anywhere, it's gonna be a wicked one. Let's get on it. Right, so where do we start? So the gravel, I think that's the perfect place to start. We've got a big pile of time match chippings here. This is for the whole site, so Binker, and of course the Calvin's car dealership unit. I mentioned in a couple of previous videos that we've got these big muddy puddles everywhere. It ain't ideal for the car trade. We want a nice sort of a plain, dry area to park the cars on, so we're getting that done today. I will show you probably in a separate video around Binker what the progress is of that, okay? Inside the unit, do you know what? I'm not going to take you inside the unit just yet because I don't want to show you what car we've got in there. You've probably seen it in the thumbnail, but we're going to save all the nice shots for that afterwards. Let's recap where we're at with Calvin's car dealership. So when we launched the first video, we sold the Tesla Wiz, G-Wiz, whatever you want to call it, T-Wiz as some of you like to call it. Sold that straight away, made a loss in that car, £2,500, but we've got 1,500 quid in the bank. We then went and bought the Nissan Navara and the Mercedes C-Class. Now, over my shoulder to the left there, the Mercedes C-Class is still here, okay? But the Nissan Navara actually sold that afternoon straight away. We paid £1,000 plus VAT for it. Put it up 1,500 quid plus VAT on Enter Reg, and we sold it straight away to another trader who's going to be taking it abroad. So little £500 profit there, lovely stuff. Sorry, you right there, mate? Just over there, through the brown door. Completely forgot what I was saying about. Gonna get flattened. Oh, we don't want to get flattened. Keep filming, keep filming. He's on it, he is on it. So, Nissan Navara, that's what I was saying. That sold straight away. Sold it as a non-running project car, needed an MOT, but we made 500 quid, all right? Obviously the VAT stuff, we'll talk about that shortly because we're gonna head up to my office and Enter Reg does all that for us as well. Now, another car that we had in stock was obviously the Golf GTI. We've still got that. We're gonna be heading over to VRS in the next couple of days to go and begin the prep work on that car. And then another car that we've got in stock is the Audi TT. That was probably the first car that we bought for the dealership. One owner from new, proper low mileage, 3.2 litre V6 engine under the bonnet. Very nice thing. That car went up for sale and it sold straight away to a subscriber. So we took a car in part exchange on that car, and that's the car that's in the unit. Before we talk about that car, let's just head up to the office and go through where we're at with the sales currently. Right, so here we go then. Let's head over to enterreg.com. This is obviously my car trading platform. This is where we do everything. This is like a hub for buying, selling and dealing with being a used car dealer, I suppose. So it's all in one place. It's really handy. It's basically an all-in-one tool. So you can see here, we're on my dashboard here for Calvin's car dealership. And you can see all the stock we've got, the invoices and all that sort of stuff. I think what we need to do first is click into bookkeeping. Okay, so here we're on the book section of Enter Reg, and you'll see basically this just summarizes all the deals that you've done in every month. So obviously we're currently, at the time of filming this video, by the way, we're in the month of March. And if you scroll down to the bottom, the first deal we've done this month was the G-Wiz. Paid £4,000 for it. I say we paid £4,000 for it. That was including all the expenses and stuff. I couldn't remember exactly what we'd spent on it. So I just summarised it as £4,000. Sold it for 1,500 quid. And we've got a loss there of £2,500. Now there is no VAT to pay on that car because it's a loss, okay? So you can see there, £0 of VAT. But you can see as the month's gone on, I suppose the motive really is to try and get back that £2,500. The next deal we've done was the Nissan Navara. We've done that yesterday, paid £1,000 plus VAT for it, 1,200 quid. And you can see the customer details there, Joe Blogs. Every customer on this platform is Joe Blogs. They are genuine people, but we also don't put genuine people's details on the platform. So we bought it off Joe Blogs. We sold it to Joe Blogs. Again, it's a genuine person, but we just don't reveal their personal information online, and made a margin of £600, okay? But we actually didn't make a margin of £600 because £100 of that margin needs to go back to in VAT, all right? There is a £100 difference in VAT to pay back to the VAT man, 100 quid, so a net profit of £500. The next car up was the Audi TT. We give £4,300 for that car, put it up for sale for £6,000, and it's sold straight away. We've got a crazy amount of interest in that car. I said in the previous video that we actually paid over book for that car, over retail for that car. This is where Valuations on older cars are really hard to judge. They're usually quite wrong, which is understandable really because of the age of the car. It's really difficult to judge accurately judge the value of a car over a long period of time. So we took a punt on it. I looked online, noticed that they literally started at £6,000. There wasn't nothing like it out there for that kind of money. So at £6,000, it was a bargain for the guy that bought it. Actually got some B-roll of me doing a deal with him. Proper nice guy. He actually bought it as part of his Audi TT collection. But you can see there we've made a £1,700 margin on that car. But that is subject to us getting the correct money that we hope to get for the part exchange, which I'm going to talk about shortly. And you can see a £283 VAT on that car as well. So there's obviously a bit of VAT to pay because there's a £1,700 margin. But we can see we're slowly making back that loss that we made at the beginning of the month. And we're across the 3 cars, we've actually so far made a margin of minus £200. So it's going all right, yeah? We've got the G-Wiz out of the way. We've sold a couple of cars, so it ain't going too bad. Next, so currently we've got the Golf GTI in stock. I think I've got that up here somewhere. There it is, looking really good. Obviously the Navara, that one's now sold. And then back to the stock list. Next one up is the KT15 Mercedes, the non-runner that I revealed in a previous video. In fact, I'm just midway through doing a listing on that car. There it is there. I'm going to advertise that to the trade. We've got this little trade tab on Enter Reg. Advertise it to the trade, see if we can get a buyer on that as well as it is. If we don't get a buyer on it as it is, well, I'll just get it all prepared, get it all done, get the engine done, get the bodywork done. There's a lot of work to be done on that car. But going back to what I said earlier about being a small car trader, starting out, it's kind of quick returns are sometimes the best returns because you're getting money back in the bank, you can just keep going again. It might be a bit of a silly thing to do to just cut my losses or cut my tyres even with this car now, because the end goal is quite a decent car to spend money on, get prepped up, and there'll be some decent money in it in the end. But if we can get a deal done now and just get onto the next one, it'll be quite good. So this is the listing here within Enter Reg. It's I've put in the title there, non-runner. And I put in the description, the cam chain has apparently slipped a tooth, engine turns and almost fires, but it won't start, kind of almost does start, a bit annoying. Suspected chain issue diagnosed by the RAC, then the mechanic later confirmed that it will likely need a new engine. I've put a bit about the bodywork. Bodywork is in poor condition, specifically the whole near side of the car along with the rear bumper, and all 4 wheels need refurbing. The car is HPI clear, has 1 former keeper on the V5, and there is some main dealer history. We've got 2 keys in the V5 for it. I'm looking for bids in the region of £3,000. Auto Trader retail valuation says 7.5 grand. So it gives us an idea, or gives the traders an idea what the values are. If we click sell, and literally just, in fact, they've got all the valuations there. They've got the cap values, 6,950 cap. And then the retail value there is 7,451. It'd be interesting to see if we can get a deal done. Yeah, it's worth a punt. Who knows? I think for another car trader, it might need 3 grand spend on it, maybe even more than that. Let's just see what bids we get, all right? So available to the trade, trade price, I'm just going to put £3,000. We're not making that car available to the public, and then we simply click admin. Save. Job done. So I think what I need to do now is I need to show you the Porsche that we bought, that we took in part exchange on the TT, and I've still got to tell you the deal that I've done as well. So the car is in the unit. Let's cut to a cinematic scene of the car, and let me take you through a little wander around it. And I think if we get time, we've got time, haven't we? We'll make it a long video. We'll go for a little drive in it as well. Look at that, it's literally just started raining. Every time I come in this unit and it rains, it just makes me feel privileged. It just reminds me of how privileged we are to have a unit to film in. So yeah, a Porsche 944, 1988 car, so it's nearly as old as me. I was born in 1987. It's actually finished in like a mauve, on the HPI it shows mauve stroke purple. It's had a colour change. In fact, I've got the details in the colour change. It was previously, if we look at the HPI, here it is, EJZ 944. By the way, it actually came with that private plate, wicked private plate to go with your Porsche 944. 11 former keepers it's got, so we're in the double figures on the former keepers. Current keeper since the 2nd of Feb 2023, so he didn't have it long at all. The honest truth is, he said he bought it, he's always sort of wanted one, and bought it, didn't really like it. He's kind of not a trader, but buys and sells the odd car, more of an enthusiast type of guy. He bought it, didn't really like it, got it all tidied up, and then just, he much prefers Audi TTs. They're a bit more modern, a bit more usable, and yeah, hence why he done a deal with the TT. So yeah, it actually had a colour change from red. So it was originally red back on the 18th of July 1997, which was the day that I turned 10 years old. All right, so that's actually my birthday. In 1997, this car was registered as the colour it is today. So the paintwork itself is actually really quite good, like considering the age of it anyway. Obviously it is an old car, it ain't perfect. You know, when you sell a car like this, you kind of got to sell it as a project because it's, they literally are ongoing project cars. So, but really cool, man. Look how retro that interior is. The steering wheels on these cars are just a massive, massive feature. I remember a game back in the day, Need for Speed Porsche Challenge, was it? Was it Porsche Challenge? It was Porsche Challenge. That was a cool game, man. And I remember that steering wheel on that game, big feature in these cars. So, the Porsche 944s were essentially a wide arch version of the Porsche 924. I was never really a big fan of them, I'll be honest with you. I suppose, I do think the 944s look a lot better than the 924s. Without a doubt they do. They look a lot better. But yeah, back in the day I was never really a fan of them. But as you come around to the back, so if cameraman wanders all the way over there, and you look at the back end of this car, by today's standards, that's quite a good-looking car. I think good-looking is probably the wrong choice of words, but it's got kind of like a bit of aggression to it at the rear. So, big rear windscreen as well. It's actually a 2.5 litre four-cylinder car. I think they produce about 150 horsepower. Nothing too exciting. Quick hashtag key check, may as well do that. It's got a little Porsche key ring as well, look, check that out, with an immobiliser. It's got a stack of paperwork, which is always good to see, and passenger doors. There we go. It does seem to have central locking, is what I mean, with these old cars. Look, a bit of a click on the door there. But you know what, that sounds quite solid, doesn't it? That sounds really solid. Under the bonnet, shall I show you under the bonnet? Because one thing I was curious about when we looked over this car was, you know, it's had a colour change. What's it looking like under the bonnet? Because to change the colour of the bodywork under the bonnet, it's a hell of a job. This interior, it must have been retrimmed. It must have been. It's been sort of trimmed to the same colour as the bodywork of the car. I think it looks really nice. Random colour combo. Like, if you were speccing a car from factory, it would be brave to go for this choice. But I think it suits the car really well. So, pop the bonnet. It's obviously got the pop-up headlights as well. Again, massive feature on these cars. I've actually had a couple of these cars in stock at Binker over the years. Not had one recently. Under the bonnet, obviously, it's old. You know, it's got a distributor cap, is not fuel injected. It's very old-fashioned, bit of rust here, there and everywhere. Like, it ain't a gem. Mileage, should we talk about the mileage? We'll talk about that shortly. We haven't talked about how much I pay for it yet either, have we? But yeah, the colour change has all been done throughout the whole car, which is also really good. So price-wise, is that shut? That is shut. Still got to go out for driving yet. We will do a very quick drive as well. I love it that the handbrake is on the side, this side of the seat. So price-wise, can I get in it? Yes, I can. I'm in. This car's done 162,000 miles. Let's put that out there first, yeah? I don't know if you saw that when we just logged into Enter Reg. 162,000 miles. It's got 11 former keepers. Valuations, as I just mentioned, are a bit of a funny one with older cars because there isn't really a system that values cars too well. So there is no cap or auto trader valuation on this car, so you kind of got to do your own research. I always sort of feel like with classic cars, the demand's generally quite low, but then I suppose as we approach the summer now, the demand does tend to get a bit stronger. So if you look on the used market at the minute, I think the cheapest Porsche 944 on the net is £4,500, okay? And that's exactly what we gave for this car. I would say its value to sell, like debatably, is somewhere in the region of £7,000 to £10,000, but again, it does solely rely on demand. This could be the perfect car for a person out there right now, but you just don't know until you get it advertised. So I'm going to do a bit more research before we get it advertised for sale, but I thought, you know what, for this series, it's a great bit of stock. Some people would say, Cal, you've sold that mint low mileage one owner TT, you've took this in, essentially I haven't had no much, so I've got this plus 1,500 quid for the TT. Maybe I should have just sat on the TT for a bit longer and took one of the other buyers at £6,000, then I'd have money to go again. I've essentially just spent that £4,500 on this car as a bit of stock. It is a gamble. We don't know where we're going to go with it. Hopefully we earn money on it, but if we don't, again, it's part of us all learning about the car trade, all right? So 5-speed manual gearbox. Does that seat go back any further? I'm literally in love with that steering wheel, by the way. I know I've just talked highly or heavily about the steering wheel. Yes, it does. Can I get my legs under there? Yes, I can. Yeah, this is cool, man. I think what we need to do now is get the engine fired up and hit the road. It started on the button, which is brilliant. It clicked into gear, lovely. What else we've got going on? What's this? Is that the lights? Is that the lights? It is the lights. It's got power steering as well, which I must admit I'm quite impressed by. I didn't expect it would have power steering. Look at that back end shot. Look at them arches. Even when you look out the mirror and you see them arches, such a nice bit of character that is. I love that. As we pull out, the car is warm now, by the way. I left it ticking over for a bit just to get it warm. Just to get it warm before we go for a drive. And it feels good, man. It feels proper good. It's weird to be out and about in a car of this age, and it's just, you know, it's doing as it should. This is the Germans at their best, I suppose. Love these leather seats as well. Really, really nice. Yeah, so they've definitely been retrimmed because the back ones are sort of half cloth, half leather, and in the cloth you've got like little Porsche badges throughout that as well. But the sort of brown, if that's what you want to call it, brown, mauve, purple, as it's named on HPI, the colour thing continues through. We've got a perforated leather headline as well, which is quite nice. What else was I going to say? Car vertical. I did actually do a car vertical check. Now the funny thing with car vertical, when you load one of their checks up, which is vital, by the way, I will link them in the description below if you want to do yourself a little check. Make sure you do that when you buy a used car, because it's so important to see the background history of every car you buy. Yeah, I use them all the time. Now when you're doing a car vertical check, what I was saying is like this anxious moment when it's loading in the check, and I've got a screen recording here with when I've done the check upstairs just now, and it just loads it. It takes a bit of time. You're like, oh, is it going to find anything wrong with it? And in this case it found absolutely nothing wrong with it. Everything we discovered in that check I obviously knew about anyway, and yeah, the mileage has got a green tick next to it. It's not got any finance on it, it's not stolen, it's not categorised, alright? So it is a HPI clear car. It's in bloody brilliant condition, considering it. I say considering it, it's in bloody good, it's in good condition. It's actually what's driving, alright? I suppose naturally a car of this age will need a bit of love, but I would personally probably prefer to be driving the Audi TT right now, I'll be honest. It's definitely more me, but at the same time I'm feeling quite happy to be sat in the driver's seat of the Porsche. So yeah, we're going to keep this drive really brief. There's nothing much left to talk about, but I am really happy. Let's have a little feel for the power. If I was to say what it pulls like, I would say it drives like an old E36 325i, that sort of power. Bit of induction roar there, nothing too crazy, but it's a bloody Porsche, isn't it? It's a Porsche. So yeah, the Merc's now advertised on Trade to Trade, so we'll see how we get on with that, see if we get any bids on that. Maybe other traders might look at it and think, you know, there's no meat on the bone, no point in me buying it, so it might mean that it might end up just staying with us. We'll get it prepped up, get it to retail standard, and get it sold later on down the line. So make sure you hit subscribe, put back to see how we get on with that car. Obviously see how we get on with this car. This car will now go back to the unit. We'll get photographs of it in the unit. There's some examples there. Looking wonderful in them photos. Get it on the website, get it advertised for sale, and then hope, yeah, we managed to claw back some money we just sort of lost, I suppose, on the TT. So in theory we're sort of quids in right now, but we're not until we've sold this. Yeah, stay with me on this, man. This is it's all interesting stuff, all right? But the Navara's gone. We've got £1,800 in the bank for that, and we've also got £1,500 in the bank off the back of the TT deal. So we've got a bit of money there to go and buy another bit of stock, all right? So yeah, make sure you subscribe, hit like if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.